back a couple of rows. Folks, just pass that back to that. There you go. That pencil's got magic in it, all right? But it's okay. I got a cup full. All right, everybody else, Andy's going to take care of you. I'll put you in the back there. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Animation Academy. I'm your instructor, Thomas Bowe. Up there at the top of the stairs, you've heard me refer to Manny several times. He is a great artist. He's here to get you a pencil if the pencil breaks, or you need that or anything else, just raise your hand. And we'll get there. If you need to leave at any time, don't go out any of these doors except that one right there. Take a look. The far right door. Of the three you just came through, give that far right door a good hard push. On the other side of the restrooms. Okay? Now, this is a rough sketching class, and when we draw a character, we do it the way that Disney and Pixar artists have for years, by starting out with very basic shapes, building and carving out till we have what we want. You may have noticed nobody gets an eraser. That means that when you start to draw, you want to draw very, very lightly. Butterfly kiss that paper at first. When I say let's lock in this line or shape, then we'll darken in those lines or shapes, and by the end of it, you're going to have a wonderful character, a very special character from the history of the Walt Disney Company as we celebrate our 100th anniversary. We're going to go back to 1941. Just when World War II was starting, we needed a story to build up our faith in ourselves, and nothing could have done it better than Dumbo. So we're going to draw Dumbo in this class, all right? Now, everybody look at that vast expanse of paper in front of you. Figure out where the center of your page is and go boom. See that little dot? That's about the center of my page. Now, around that, I'm going to start building my character. If you want to give yourself a teeny little dot like that, it might be helpful. We're going to start by drawing in an oval for the shape of his head. Now, don't draw this yet. Watch where I put this. Okay? As I build this oval around that dot, it's a little lower in towards, closer to the bottom than it is to the top, right? So try to get that built around that center point. It'll really help you out a lot. And guidelines. We got to put down some guidelines. And these are a map that's going to show us where our character's eyes, trunk, and everything goes. I'm going to put one from top to bottom going straight through the middle, just like that, super light and loose. Okay? And then we're going to go just a little way up from the bottom of that oval. I would say right about here. Look at the negative space in here. That's about where you want this to be. Okay? Just with that much space at the bottom. Now that we've got that in place, let's head up towards the top of the oval, which is, of course, the top of his head. And we're going to start bringing out his ears like this. So I'm going to put a line right here, and then one just above the top of his head. I'm going to start here at the side of the oval, and I'm going to travel up until I'm as high as that line, up and out with a nice outward curve like that. And the likewise over here. Does that match? Pretty close. There we go. Now, I'm going to carry on with this. I'm going to take it over here. He's got great big ears. That's how he's able to do what he does. Just to say why. Okay. There we go. Let's bring this one out too. Just like that. This one should be a little bit higher. This is why I'm drawing so very lightly, because you can move things around and get messy right now. Just do it really lightly. This stuff will all fade into the background. Okay? Grabbing onto the end. Okay, so let's see. That would be halfway down. Good. You've got to go up a little. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to kind of create this outstretched letter S here. Going from there to the side of my oval, and there to the side of the oval over here. You can see I'm not real worried about making beautiful, pretty lines and as light as possible for the moment. This is looking good. You know what? Am I ready to lock in anything? Not. You know what? Let's go ahead and lock in the tops of his ears. Let's do that. Let's commit to that. And as we do, I'll tell you a little bit more about the history of Dumbo. It started out as a very little-known children's storybook that Walt Disney was looking for something that he could do that would be a little less complicated than some of the masterpieces like Fantasia and Pinocchio that he had been making at that time. Those were very expensive films to make, and Walt, with the war coming on, needed to kind of scale things down a bit for this film. They came across this little storybook, and they said this would work. It is one of the shortest films that Walt Disney ever produced as an animated film, and it was also one of the most successful at that time, with great classics like Pinocchio, Fantasia, Bambi. The one that really made the most money after Snow White, of course, was Dumbo. Really helped to save the studio at that tumultuous time in our history. I'm going to take this down right to where it changes direction here on both sides now. There we go. Let's do this one too. Now, all right. Everybody doing good so far? New students and alumni? You're all with me, right? Excellent. Let's carry on. Let's kind of leave the bottom light and loose for the moment and go down here. We got to draw in some cheeks. Babies, right? You got those adorable cheeks. You just want to squeeze them. I'm going to start right here above this line off to the side of his head, and I'm going to bring out a parenthesis on both sides, just like that. And now I'm going to join those together just underneath the bottom of my original oval, like that. Right? Let's see, maybe I'll just build this up a little bit to make it very clearly defined for everyone, including myself, just like this. Now we're going to get his trunk into place. I left this light loose because I'm going to build the trunk on top of this. Right here, from the bottom of his the oval that is his face to this line, I'm going to draw in a nice sized circle. And now I'm going to start over here on this side, not right at the top, just off to the side. I'm going to stretch out this kind of S curve. It's going down just below the bottom of his chin there, right? On this side, I'm going to start in the same place over here, and I'm going to go down and around that curve and wrap it like that, okay? Just kind of hook into it. Now I think you can start to see Dumbo in this. At least I can. Of course, I've drawn him a bunch of times, so it's easy for me. Dumbo is an interesting character for so many reasons, the ones that I've just mentioned, but also, he never talks, right? He never talks. The character that does most of the talking in this film, of course, is his little pal Timothy Mouse. Edward Brophy was a great movie character actor, a movie tough guy that you would see alongside people like Cagney or Edward G. Robinson, the kind of guy that would go, yeah, you wouldn't want to. And Walt Disney saw the potential in that sort of voice to be Timothy the Mouse, somebody that wasn't intimidated by characters that were bigger and tougher than him, right? Wasn't afraid to stand up for what was right. Let's go ahead and lock in that chin now. Those cheeks and that chin. Edward Brophy, how wonderful. There we go. All right. Now that we've got that in place, I'm going to add just a little curve to the top of his trunk and then maybe two more below it. This one at the bottom is very small. We call those snout lines. It just shows that his trunk is coming towards us a bit. He's going to be smiling, even though his smile is actually behind the trunk. We do see the corners of it. Just add these nice little stretched out S-curves right about there towards the top side of the trunk on both sides. Now this line here, we call this the eye line because that's where we're going to set his eyes. And babies have cute cheeks and they also have great big eyes full of wonder, right? And so his eyes are going to be very big and expressive. And wide set, which is to say there'll be definite space between them. So I'm going to put this eye sitting on that line, a nice sized oval, pretty close to the side of his face over here. And then I'm going to match it over here. Size and shape, that looks pretty good. His smile is pushing up his cheeks, so underneath each eye I'm going to put a little curve to reflect that cheek. And now I'll go ahead and darken those outlines. Now, back in the day, I mean, a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard of the Nine Old Men, those famous animators that were the geniuses behind so much great animation in Disney films. Before the Nine Old Men, there were some other old men, and one of these unsung heroes was a man named Bill Tightla. Bill was actually a nickname. His real name was Vladimir Tightla. And he was known for doing powerful, dramatic, sometimes very frightening scenes and characters. And one of the most famous scenes, I would dare say, not just in an animated film or in a Disney film, but in film history, is that scene where Dumbo goes to visit his mother when she's been locked up. And that was animated by the great Bill Tightla, a man known for doing big, scary, dramatic stuff, created one of the most touching moments in movie history. Tremendous, tremendous accomplishment, if you ask me. Let's go ahead and draw in his pupils, low and inside. You'll notice as I draw these in, I'm drawing in a very complete oval right here and right over here. That way, he's not going to look cross-eyed. If you just come up against the side and do like a half a circle or a half an oval, he'll look cross-eyed. I'm going to make these nice and dark so that they really stand out. Looks like he's looking right out at us. He's happy to see us too. That's good. He knows that we're friends. Not like those matriarchal elephants that give us such a bad time. All right. Let's go ahead and give him some little baby eyebrows. Just 3 little flicks of the pencil on either side, just off to the side of the top of his eyes. I'll build this up a little bit, like that, and 3 more over here. Okay, now it's safe at this point to go ahead and just lock in the sides of his face, so let's go ahead and do that. Leave the top of his head light blue. You starting to recognize him? Yeah. Just thinking, oh yeah, I've seen him. Oh boy. Every time I'm drawing one of these characters, I want to run home and pardon the shameless plug, put on Disney Plus and watch these things again. It just, the emotion. Okay, let's go up here, just off to the side of the tops of his ears on the inside. I'm going to draw 2 little curves for eyebrows, way up high. There you go. They made Dumbo a clown, you know, and so they made him wear a little clown hat. So let's draw that hat in. I'm going to draw a cereal bowl at the top of his head. Okay? Right there. Just coming into it a little bit. And let's have it lean down a little bit towards the right. So it's kind of going that way, leaning down a little bit. We can go ahead. I'll straighten out the sides of it a little bit more and then give it that nice curve at the bottom. Lock in everything, and then lock in that top, and we'll add a little bit more to it to make it look more like one of those little clown hats. I'm going to just go to this side over here on the left and bring it up, and then I'm going to add a fish hook like this. And then bring it down to the other side like that. There we go. A little more curve to it too. There we go. Another voice in this film, a true Disney legend and one of my heroes, and I dare say one of Walt Disney's heroes because he used this man so many times. In Dumbo, he was the voice of Mr. Stork, but the great Sterling Holloway was a lot of voices for Walt Disney. There's Mr. Stork, but Roquefort from the Aristocats, Flower, the grown-up version in Bambi, of course the Cheshire Cat, and Cobb from the Jungle Book, and then this chubby little cubby that was all stuffed with fluff. This is Sterling Holloway, folks, a genius, and one of Walt Disney's go-to guys. One of the things that makes these films so special. And a lot of them, too. There were more than I actually illustrated in that card that I just showed you. Watch some of the old classic Disney stuff and you'll hear Sterling Holloway a lot. I'm going to go ahead and put a little inner edge just towards the top of each ear, so it'll go from his face just to about that far. Let's go ahead and add that edge. See, I'll go backwards on this one. There we go. Do that. Okie doke. Now, I left this light loose because along with that clown hat, they made him wear this little clown collar. Here's how I like to approach it. Very lightly, I'm going to put a little bump right under his trunk. One on this cheek over here, one on this cheek, and then one in between those on both sides. And now all I have to do is kind of go in and out and in and out as I go from one to the next to create that wobbly clown collar. They thought they could bring him down. Boy, they learned a lesson. There we are. The only time we ever see Timothy, nobody ever says his name in the film. The only reason we know that Timothy the Mouse is named Timothy is because at the end, when Dumbo becomes famous, Timothy becomes his manager. And there's a newspaper headline, and it says, Timothy Q. Mouse signs big deal, some big contract for Dumbo. And you go, oh, his name was Timothy. How about that? Little things that you notice when you watch these films 150 times. There we go. Let's add an inner edge to that. And now we can safely lock in the rest of those ears. Because, right, they're hiding behind that collar a little bit. That's why we left it light. Or left it till the end. But this is pretty much all we need to do to finish our drawings of one of the most wonderful characters in the history of film. Not just animated film, film period. Walt Disney, man, that guy really had it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign my little elephant right over here. How did everybody do? Yeah, these drawings really soared. Okay, 2023, we're running a little long on time, but that's okay. I like to spend a little extra time to make this guy look wonderful.